Let's talk more about the Justice Department and this nomination of Loretta Lynch as the AG designate. Ron Hosko, the former assistant director of the FBI, the current president of the Law Enforcement Legal Defense Fund, joins us as he is Skyping in from the Commonwealth of Virginia. Ron, you have been quoted as saying that things within the Department of Justice will not change with Ms.
First of all, I think that the Attorney General, the new Attorney General, and Loretta Lynch, I would agree with Senator McCain, appears to be a very qualified candidate to hold this position. But I think it's important that the Office of the Attorney General and the Attorney General themselves start to rebuild the relationship with Congress, and in order to move the country forward, move law enforcement forward.
And so we are faced with the prospect of the nomination not being considered until there is a new Republican-controlled Senate. So the prospect of politics playing a role is here, but also there's a legitimate notion of oversight. And it comes down, I think, sir, to Loretta Lynch, where she fits in on the political spectrum. She may have an impressive legal resume, and of course she's a United States attorney, but forgive me for being crass, will she be essentially a female version of Eric Holder?
Well, one would hope that we would have some change in the next Attorney General. Quite clearly, the relationships have broken down, that there is a lack of comity, C-O-M-I-T-Y, between Congress, certain members of Congress certainly, and the Attorney General himself. And I think that does telegraph it is time for a change. But you're asking the right question. Will we have an Attorney General who is bound and determined to enforce the law, and that is law written by Congress and approved and concurred with by the President of the United States, or will we see this continuing politicization of law enforcement? Go ahead.
Well, Ron, I was just going to make note of the fact that, as is often the case when these nominations come forward, folks on the internet go to work. At least in terms of political rhetoric, Ms. Lynch has been talking about the injustice extended toward African Americans in the criminal justice system. Politically, at least, she seems to be following up on those themes so favored by General Holder, to wit that, quote, we're all cowards on race. But can she separate her political philosophy with the simple courtesies that are supposed to exist between and among institutions of government? What is the reputation for that type of demeanor? We've got about 1:30 left.
JD, unmistakably or unquestionably, this is a smart, well-educated, very capable U.S. attorney and nominee. And I hope that she can make that separation. I think that we have to have those discussions in our country about race, about incarceration, about the impact of incarceration or the lack of it, what that impact is, the disparate impacts on different communities regarding who goes to jail and why they go to jail. I think we need to have that conversation. We probably have to have that conversation with a new Attorney General. Well, I fear that in the wake of Ferguson, that this Attorney General has said some things that's divided himself from the law enforcement community. I hope Loretta Lynch is up to it.
So, Ron, with the minute we have remaining, if you were going to advise Ms. Lynch, you would say go into those hearings with a spirit of reconciliation, acknowledging differences, but what the heck, not calling the majority of Americans cowards, as General Holder did when it comes to the topic of race.
Right. Absolutely. This should be a reset of relationships across the board between the Attorney General's office and Congress, between the Attorney General's office and the police, and involving the community.
Fair enough.
We have to have these opinions on the table, and we have to sort through them in the right way.
Agree to disagree in agreeable fashion, something that may have been missing from the body politic recently.
It got increasingly vitriolic, and certainly the Fast and Furious scandal.
Understood, sir. We'll have to leave it there. Ron Hosko, thanks for your time. We're coming right back.